Hey everybody, I'm Tim Mooney with the Timothy Mooney Repertory Theater. It's time for round 2 of our Renaissance author celebrity cage match, Shakespeare versus Moliere. Last time around, in celebration of Moliere's 399th birthday, he's gonna be 400 next January. I hope you've got him something. I did a special installment comparing the lives and works of Shakespeare and Moliere. And given that I make my living performing monologues from both of these guys, it struck me that we might like to take a look at some of their monologues. If you want to see a bunch of Moliere monologues, you can catch them as part of my one-man show, Moliere Than Thou, Sunday, February 28th, 2021 at 8 p.m. Central on Facebook Live. Pay whatever you want. And also at noon Central Time, Monday, March 1st, 2021 on Zoom. This is a booked performance for a group that has graciously allowed me to invite French and theater teachers. Drop me a note and I'll send you a link to the show. Moliere Than Thou is also available for special discount online bookings during French Week in early November 2021. So, here we go with our second installment of Shakespeare versus Moliere. This time, we're going to look at monologues. Audition monologues. If you're an actor and or hoping to make any kind of a living as an actor, you're going to need monologues that you can present in an audition setting. Occasionally, you may audition with cold readings from the play, but some of the most crucial auditions that you will attend will expect you to show up with monologues already memorized. You need to have at least 4 types of pieces, which should include at least one serious modern monologue, comic modern monologue, a serious or tragic classical monologue, and a comic classical monologue. Each of these speeches will bring out a very different facet of your personality and showcase a variety of your abilities. Finding modern monologues is not too extreme a challenge, and when it comes to serious classical speeches, Shakespeare has provided us with a multitude of those. But the comic classical monologue has some very specific challenges to it, and your ability to rise to those challenges may be key in landing the job. Unfortunately, comic classical is where most actors run into trouble. Hey, if you have a comic classical monologue that works for you, let me know what it is in the comments below. Directors holding auditions for classical comic plays want to know several specific things. Can the actor take a situation alien to the modern world, such as, say, some violation of Renaissance or Restoration sensibility, and make the nuances of centuries-old issues breathe with present-day passion? Can the actor employ the language to his service, mastering archaic phrasings, structured rhetoric, or inverted syntax as a necessary tool to fulfill his or her desires? Or is she or he victimized, trampled under the wheels of such formal language? Can the actor remain feverishly in pursuit of an objective while saying things that are outrageously clever or complex? If the text rhymes, can the actor touch the rhyme with a deft inflection without letting the meter overrun the language in a sing-songy patter? You can make this mistake on both sides of this issue. You can overemphasize the rhyme such that the cost is that the character's humanity is lost. Or you can ignore and race past the rhyme in a way that no one hears, and so the playwright's cleverness disappears. And crucially, what all those considerations should add up to, can the actor make the audience laugh? These are daunting considerations, and from the director's point of view, they can be the difference between 6 painful weeks of rehearsal or 6 delightful weeks of rehearsal. I, the director, don't want to be pulling teeth to get you to be funny. I'm hoping that you will be the actor who will make those next 6 weeks easy and fun. None of this, of course, is to mention all the usual considerations of believability, poise, openness, fluidity, and just plain volume. Your director wants that in whatever play you're auditioning for. Most actors have an instinct to grab for Shakespeare anytime there's need for a classical monologue. But there's a couple of problems with Shakespeare's comic monologues. It may be heresy to say it, but most of them aren't all that funny. Monologues in Shakespeare comedies tend to be amusing or ironic or based on a quirk of character that contemporary actors might not have picked up on, largely because they're thrown off by the form, the structure of the language, and worried about just making sense of those words in the first place. And when you do find that really hilarious Shakespeare monologue, 9 times out of 10, it's been done. Here are two monologues that I've seen perhaps 50 to 100 times. Helena from Midsummer Night's Dream. How happy some or other some can be. Through Athens I am thought as fair as she. And the Launce monologue from Two Gentlemen of Verona, which is famous for this passage about his dog. He thrusts me himself into the company of 3 or 4 gentlemen like dogs under the Duke's table. He had not been there, bless the mark, a pissing while, but all the chamber smelt him. Of course, I'm sure that your rendition is probably hilarious. Just know there is no dramatic tension from the director's point of view. We know the notes that you will likely be hitting. We know how it ends. And when we know how it ends, we kind of stop paying attention. And when we stop paying attention, we stop laughing. Have you seen a particular monologue over and over again? Let me know what it is in the comments below. It helps to have an index of what to avoid. Because the most important test of a comic classical monologue, can you make us laugh at a joke that is 400 or 500 years old? This is where Moliere gives you an edge. While Shakespeare clearly has Moliere beat when it comes to tragedy or history, and while one may find Shakespeare comedies that are better structured or more intricately layered and developed than Moliere's, nobody touches Moliere for funny. Not every Moliere monologue is going to strike you as fall-down hilarious. Moliere may be setting up an approaching outrageous situation. Or sometimes what's funny is that this monologue is being delivered to the one person who is not supposed to hear it, in which case what's hilarious is not your delivery, but the astonished or pained look on the guy we don't see. Or sometimes the humor lives in the outrageous desperation with which this character chases a seemingly serious concern. But the collective spirit to which these pieces contribute is almost always something very, very funny. Your director only rarely sees people auditioning with Moliere's speeches, and keep in mind that every English language variation of Moliere's plays has been translated. Even if that director has seen this play recently, the odds are pretty good that they have not seen the particular adaptation or translation of the play that you are working from. In other words, they won't know what hit them. Now, you may be tempted to grab for a prose translation of Moliere. It feels more natural to you, I get that. But natural may not necessarily be what your director is looking for in this setting. After all, they'll see that in your modern monologues. And more to the point, for your audition purposes, a prose speech from a classical play does not showcase your abilities to work with formal language. Rhyming verse carries with it an inherent capacity for delight. The audience enters into a game with the actors, wondering how that couplet's first line might rhyme with a second line in some way that's sublime. I'm going to take a look at two monologues with an exceedingly similar theme. One is from Shakespeare in prose, the other Moliere in verse. They're discussing the very same theme, honor. Now, this is admittedly unfair to Shakespeare, since the Shakespeare piece is from a history play and the Moliere piece is from a comedy. But I suspect it may spark your imagination if you see these two side by side. Henry IV. On the battlefield, Prince Hal looks grimly ahead to the coming battle and answers Falstaff's cowardly reluctance with what is probably a joke, "Why, thou owest God a death," and leaves the stage. Falstaff, alone. "'Tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter, honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set to a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery then? No. What is honor? A word. What is in that word honor? What is that honor? Air. A trim reckoning. Who hath it? He that died a Wednesday. Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead. But will it not live with the living? No. Why? Detraction will not suffer it. Therefore, I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon, and so ends my catechism. Meanwhile, in a lighter vein, Sganarelle, in the play Sganarelle or the Imaginary Cuckold, suspects that his wife is having an affair with a man who he observes emerging from his home, saying to him, "You lucky man, your wife is quite a prize." He hasn't left me all that much to ponder, such sordid singleness to his entendre. For me to take this all without a fight is reckoning my honor all too slight. What sort of man does not respond? What rube would stand aside inert? An idle boob. I'll chase him down. I'll challenge, take him on. The man shall never see another dawn. I'll show it's wrong to cuckold on some whim a man who never did a thing to him. Well, not so fast. Ought I be boldly swearing? The fellow has a rather brutish bearing, and he might think to vent his angry wrath not only on my fore, but also aft. Well, down, good honor, man your rightful station. I will not stand for taking your dictation. Say I should play the champion or martyr, and feel it 'neath the belt, above the garter, and gossips tell of that revenge I tried. Well, would I then be somehow satisfied? I think when all is done that I would rather remain a cuckold than become cadaver. So, Falstaff's speech is in prose, very similar to what strikes us as a natural speech pattern. Meanwhile, Sganarelle's speech, in my translation at least, is in verse. Both monologues can be funny, but keep in mind, you're trying to help the director to check off these boxes as yes votes for you. Can the actor make this situation breathe with present tense passion? Handle the archaic, inverted, or structured language. Feverishly pursue an objective, deftly inflect the meter and the rhyme, and ultimately, can the actor make the audience laugh? By my count, the Sganarelle speech checks all of these boxes a little more firmly than Falstaff does. Of course, I'm cheating on behalf of Moliere. This has a lot to do with the tone of a history play as opposed to a comedy. If you want to see a Shakespeare speech that does potentially satisfy more of these concerns, one that, last time I checked, is not overdone in auditions, you might take a look at my video on this speech from Comedy of Errors. Or, to put in a plug for my own work, I've compiled about 150 newly translated Moliere speeches in this book, The Big Book of Moliere Monologues. I also perform a lot of Shakespeare speeches as part of my one-man play, Lot O' Shakespeare, which is available on tour and via broadcast. So that's Shakespeare versus Moliere, the Monologue Audition edition. Hopefully your understanding of this will increase your appreciation of these two amazing playwrights. Next time, we'll take a look at Moliere's rogue seducer, Tartuffe, up against Shakespeare's rogue seducer, Parolles, in All's Well That Ends Well. Tune in to catch Moliere the Now this next Sunday, February 28th at 8 p.m. or Monday, March 1st, 2021 at noon Central Time. If you're watching this video after those dates, please swing by timmoneyrep.com for all the latest details of the performance schedule or to book an event. I do these videos just about every other week. You can go back and see the first one I did on Moliere's life here, and another about the scandals surrounding the play Tartuffe here. You can also find a ton of videos about Shakespeare on this channel as well. Please give it a like, subscribe, or ring the bell below so that you don't miss the next. We've also got a Patreon campaign and have giveaways of lots of swag, like these books for instance, and even drawings for free performances. And this and lots more goodies can be found at timmoneyrep.com. Thanks for watching. See you on the stage.